How's it going, everyone? This is day 2 of Nightshades, a tourist guide to the night side. We're going to read another, I don't know, maybe 15, 12 or 15 pages or so. I think, I think we'll get maybe to this part right here. So, let's get started. We are, again, balancing a little bit of ranting and raving with regurgitation for balance. I just don't want this channel to become all about regurgitation and repeating things that other people have said, but it's good to hear things that other people have said besides me. So, let's get on with it. Journey to the West. The Kabbalistic Tree of Life, a creation of some brilliant medieval Jews in Central Europe, is one of the most refined maps of mind-body-spirit interaction. A gorgeous model with plenty of extras. A roadmap for your journey to heaven. You have booked a trip to enlightenment? Come on and get out. Here's a rough guide to practical initiation along contemporary magico-kabbalistic lines. Let us begin with Malkuth, the kingdom, or Malkut. Let us begin with Malkuth, the kingdom, the world you live. Belivie, but it's hyphenated. We explore body, learn about discipline, daily life, responsibility, obligations, regular exercise, and purify the means we need to make a living. The next step is Yesod, or Yesod. Welcome to the inner world, the dream theater of visions, imagination, and hallucination. It's a lunar realm, changeful, confusing, alluring, and frequently unpredictable. Magical exercises in this realm include training the imagination, lucid dreaming, astral projection, and playing around with the sensual sub-modalities. You can find much about them in the works of Richard Bandler, who was the first pioneer who systematically explored them. Maybe? That's a tall claim. If we project the shape of a human being on the tree of life, Yesod corresponds with the genitals. Hence, this is a wonderful opportunity to refine your capability for lust, pleasure sharing, giving, and taking, and consider in what way you wish to procreate. In the mercurial realm of Hod, we craft models to describe our experience. We do interior decoration with thought concepts, hypothesis, theories, semantic structures, reloads of books, make symbols jump through hoops, practice divination, try to define what sort of world we're in, and play with what we think that we are thinking. If we were, which isn't entirely certain nor really recommended unless we enjoy it thoroughly and do it now. Netzach, the realm of Venus, opens us to embrace whatever seems other, capital O-T-H-E-R, at the moment. We refine our dedication, love, longing, hope, sympathy, our emotionality, and our passion for it all. This is the realm to contact others, friends, lovers, gods, spirits, reflections of the self, manifestations of the all-self. We invoke beings, we shapeshift into them, and we find ourselves transformed in the process. It may involve classical assumption of God forms, or plain obsession, depending on the nature of the entity you're merging with. Sure. All of this can be exhilarating, mind-blowing, and shattering. So please remember to pack champagne, flowers, fireworks, protective helmet, broken heart glue, and a lot of hankies. All of these are the basics. They serve to create a basic magic outfit to get the simple stuff done. Bro, this is like... I feel like they are semi-joking, but at the same time, like, the real world is part of the circle. All of these are the basics. They serve to create a basic magic outfit to get the simple stuff done. If you want to be a religious devotee, divine, work spells, consecrate talismans, banish hostile influences, or run an occult group, they are quite sufficient. However, they still remain more or less contained in the dualist perception where there are distinct personalities, people, spirits, deities, and so on. They go far enough for everyday worship and many a high priest, priestess, have you ever met low priests? Is satisfied with them. When we reach Tiferet, the solar heart system in our core, inside and outside, begin to inform and reflect each other. We arrive in the center of our magical selfhood universe and realize our future, ideal, or divine self as the holy guardian angel, Crowley's term. Is it? Or as the personal deity, a concept of Hinduism that goes back to much earlier times. Personal deities first appear in the earliest surviving literature of mankind in ancient Mesopotamia. The Sumerians were no unified culture, but a cluster of competitive city-states scattered across lower and central Mesopotamia, each of them characterized by its own reading of myths and cosmology. There were plenty of deities around, only a handful of them were big enough to be universally known, and these deities, so it was thought, had created mankind so that someone could feed them with the offerings and prayer. In return, the deities were obliged to grant fertility, i.e., the ability to give life to people, their animals, and plants. The Sumerian citizen didn't know all deities, nor did each deity know all Sumerians. Hence, each person had one or several personal deities to meditate with the divine. They became the personal contact for each worshipper. It began among priests and regents, and by the middle of the second millennium BCE, before Common Era, everybody had a personal deity or a pair of them. A few years later, the idea turns up in Egypt and other Near Eastern countries. In India, similar ideas evolved, or were maybe imported from Mesopotamia. Some chose their personal deities, usually a goddess and a god. Others were chosen by them, got them from a guru, or maybe they worshipped family deities, class deities, deities of the profession, the village, district, or whatever. Some have a personal deity, some a personal deity that appears in many guises, and some live with an entire cluster of personal deities. For each worshipper, the personal deity appears as the greatest deity of them all. Hence, we have loads of hymns from India and Sumeria, where a given deity is celebrated at the summit of spiritual excellence. As the summit of spiritual excellence. But we should think beyond deities to understand this fully. Indeed. For the medieval British bards and for the Irish poets, the personal deity was the muse, a spiritual entity, a prosopopeia, permitting easy access to the divine. Love that word. Reminds me of troposopa or troposopo. Anyway, a spiritual entity permitting easy access to the divine. Muses guided the creative fits of the bards and poets. Muses helped them divine, prophesy, curse, or cast spells, or prophecy, if you're not from the Bible Belt. You find this topic explored at length. Maybe that's not just a Bible Belt thing. Maybe that's just where I'm from. Okay, would help them prophecy, curse, or cast spell. You find the topic explored at length in Cauldron of the Gods. Personal deity and muse are just two useful concepts. Others prefer a shamanic model and call it the spirit helper, the ally, or maybe their power animal. In Nordic thought, it was the fylgja, a soul animal, or an alternative soul of the other sex. Yes, there were tough warriors and priests who believed that their souls were female. Just as so many shamans of Central Asia discovered and married guardian spirits of other sex. And this also sort of links to the anima and animus. So, whatever you meet when you reach Tiferet, it's all of them. Don't take my word for it. No, take mine. No. Take many people's words and then analyze them. But in my experience, not only has that spirit manifested differently for different people, it can manifest differently to the same person at different times. It can even be a roiling image that never settles, depending on where and when you are in your path. Whatever you meet, it's all of them. Don't take my word for it. Meeting the deity, muse, or guardian spirit is a mind-shaking experience. This encounter should transform you from the core. It can be shocking. It can shatter the limits of your narrow identity. It can upset your self-definition and leave you so shaken and bedazzled for a long time. And can leave you shaken and bedazzled for a long time. At least, I should hope so. People who simply select a deity because it looks cool and smugly state, "This is mine," are deluding themselves. The personal deity, the holy guardian angel, the totem, fylgja, and alternative self is us and more than us. In fact, it is so much more than us that we can safely leave the earlier identity behind. This angel, deity, muse, ally appears exactly in the shape that it is suited to your development at the time. It can appear human or animal, fantastic, traditional, symbolic, hilarious, or completely abstract. Don't take the form for the content. Sometimes the form is a message, but not always. The form will change as you get used to it, again and again and again, and so will you. Hopefully. This is your personal guru. This is the revived and reborn you who truly acts from the heart of reality. When you and your personal deity merge, life turns into a brilliant work of art. Your awareness, your feelings become an art form, and you begin to realize that you can make your experience just as you want, will, and need at a given time. The first work of art of every artist is always her or himself. When we unite with the angel, deity, ally, we become a being that is radiant, impressive, and thoroughly congruent. Looked at from another perspective, we have created a more than human ego that does a grandiose job. It's the reason why so many magicians, spiritual teachers, and great artists fall in love with themselves and get stuck. Every one of us. Luckily, you have the guts to go further. The next realm is Gebura, or Gebura, the martial sphere of self-power and force. It is not enough to delight in the fusion of the human self and the angel deity muse. We have to remember our responsibility and earth our vision in the world. Even Arthur had to return from Avalon. All successful magicians earth their magic in some way. Maybe you communicate your vision. Now we're getting into the difference between mystic and magician, and perhaps shaman and sorcerer. Moving on. All successful magicians earth their magic in some way. Maybe you communicate your vision, truth, and essence in art, in deeds, in play acting, in writing, painting, music, movie making, or whatever. The more you release, the more you receive. That's why Lao Tzu, Laozi, that's why Lao Tzu wrote, "The saint does not hoard. Having regarded everything as belonging to others, he has greater abundance himself. Heaven, given everything to others, he has the more himself." Having given more. Having given everything to others, he has the more himself. The saint does not hoard. Having regarded everything as belonging to others, he has greater abundance himself. Having given everything to others, he has the more himself. It's so italicized, I almost have to turn the book to read it. Chapter 3, translated Divendak, Dyvendak. These lines sum up how magic manifests continuously. They also hint at the dangers lurking for those who bottle up their visions, hoard their secrets, and cut themselves off from the flow. The result is chronic magical constipation. Gebura means that you earth your vision and live in your self-essence, for good or bad, and communicate what is dear to your heart. Another title attributed to Gebura is Din, or Din, judgment. And that judgment is heaven come to earth in many ways. So, or hell come to earth, right? We're unearthing unconsciousness. We're bubbling from the bottom of the barrel, of the cauldron. Well then, you have learned to express yourself in several ways. One form of art is never enough. And have realized that the more you give, the more you receive. Maybe there are even a few people who understand what you are asking. What you are saying. Yes, sure. It isn't likely, but it has been known to happen once in a while. The next step is Gedula, or Gedula. People typically say Gedula, I believe, aka Chesed, the realm of Jupiterian grandeur, where the whole thing stabilizes. Erratic outbursts of vision and rapture balance. You get used to the ups and downs, the ebbs and tides of your reality, and find contentment and stability. You've been there and done it all. Maybe you have even attracted some students who heed your generous and just advice. You can sit back and look happily and proudly at your self-energizing, balanced and fertile magical universe, and at the noble figure in its center. If you are very dumb, you'll do so, right? Maybe you are lucky. Maybe the ancient ones give you a kick in your bum. The gates of hell open and absolute reality takes care of your self-important little ego. The next step is Bina, or Bina. True understanding. It's only a small step, but it costs you your reason. It's only a small step, but it costs your reason. Because between Hesed and Binah lies the abyss, just like everywhere else. You simply didn't want to notice. Behind Hesed, the model stops to work. Here, the travelers are wont to protest. The Tree of Life is such a neat map, and there are easy roads leading to the very top. Up there is the realm of supernal perfection, true understanding, true wisdom, and absolute selfhood. Plus 3 veils of transcendent nothingness. It looks so simple, but it isn't. The map is a model. It's not the living truth. As someone once said, the menu is not the meal. Like all pieces of knowledge, it was made up in the abyss. Right here, where all the roadmaps stop. Beyond the abyss, your way turns into anyways. Yourself into all selves. Knowledge multiplies, twists, turns, coils, and contradicts itself. Everything and nothing is real. Words don't make it, and every symbol can mean anything. That's what being human is all about. First, the models multiply and expand, and they implode and disappear altogether. Beyond the abyss, models cease to matter. The map of the tree of life becomes meaningless. So does the person of the traveler. There are no maps and no one who could use them. No one goes through the abyss, because within the abyss are beginning and end and rebirth of all illusion. Did you guess I'm talking of you and me, of everyone and everything? Advaita Vedanta offers a good glimpse of it. Advaita Advaita Vedanta offers a good glimpse of it. To put everything simply, the Vedantins assume that absolute reality, Brahman, is formless, undefined, undefinable, unborn, unexistent, undying, totally void, in consciousness itself. Everything with form is subject to change, to birth existence, death, rebirth, and hence too limited to be absolute or absolutely true. The Vedantins disapproved of form and called it Maya, meaning a cunningly crafted illusion. To obtain liberation from Maya, they did a lot of meditation, ritual, austerities, and yoga to destroy illusion, meaning their social position, status, perception, thinking, and identity. It certainly gave them freedom from bondage, but it didn't make them very happy. Sounds like someone just got home. Whatever you can name, you can say goodbye to it. Maybe your ego gets the creeps, the shivers, and then runs at this point. It bloody well knows why. Let's take a look at planet Earth from outside. A tiny ball of matter and life in an eternity of darkness. A few small suns here and there, a few planets to give motion to the picture. Plenty of dark matter, particles, stringies, academic hypotheticals, transdimensional fantasticals, and in between an enormous amount of nothing. Or ain, or I. Or take atoms. A little energy, plus whirlies, charges, flavors, zipazoddles rather, gravitation for free, and in between loads of nothing. Nothing keeps our world together. And this is what we're studying on this channel, is the nothing. The elseness. Nothing surrounds us. Nothing is shared by all that exists, that ever was and ever will be. Nothing accompanies us from life to life, from consciousness to consciousness, from identity to identity. Nothing is the common denominator, the universal glue that supports, transforms, and maintains all forms. Nothing is absolutely conscious. Nothing is absolutely conscious. Bit of a forked tongue phrase there, eh? Here, the abyss opens its gates. True enough, we have known about them all the time. Whenever you felt afraid, uncertain, insecure, doubtful, disappointed, worthless, depressed, upset, or unhappily in love, you had a glimpse of it. Much of human effort is aimed at ignoring the central voidness that is our shared essence. People hunger all their lives. They try to stuff the hole, that's H-O-L-E, within themselves with anything. Call it desire if you like. No matter whether you crave food, sleep, or physical comfort, a partner, family, a career, property, power, admiration, self-expression, or simply seek a comatose life watching TV. There's always something out there which allures, which promises to fill the gaping void within our core. The void pulls us, moves us, motivates us, and motivates us. There's no and there. The void pulls us, moves us, motivates us. It makes animals seek each other. It makes plants grow to the light, and people live their dream of life without a trace of hesitation. The historical Buddha himself realized the absolute reality of voidness. It made him an unhappy and grumpy nihilist who much looked forward to his own demise. Mahayana Buddhism, or Buddhism, refined the concept. As one version of the Prajna Paramita Sutra goes, forms are voidness, and voidness is forms. Nor are forms and voidness separable, or forms other than voidness. In the same way, perception, feeling, volition, and consciousness are voidness. Thus, Shariputra are all things voidness. Shariputra, without characteristics. Thus, Shariputra are all things voidness, without characteristics, unborn, unimpeded, unsullied, unsullyable, unsubtracted, unfilled. Translation Evans Wentz, 1967. Looks like page 356 to 357 of the Prajna Paramita Sutra. All of this is eminently true, but it didn't make most Buddhists very happy. It's hard to run a temple or a country when you believe that all is void and nevertheless insist on hierarchy, status, and regular donations. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. I am not used to sitting here. This is a new spot for me. Okay. Moving on. The Tantrika of Kashmir had a very similar outlook. They recognized the absolute reality of the void, but in their lore, both voidness and forms are worthwhile, uplifting, and divine. Let's put this simply. They proposed that the eternal Shiva, or Shiva, is pure voidness and one consciousness without form, while Supreme Shakti is consciousness in all form and energy. Now we're kind of getting into Prana, Purusha, and Prakriti. Another trinity that you might look into. Prana, Purusha, and Prakriti. Okay. The two unite again and again. Their blissful coupling maintains the universe. Mind you, most Kashmir Tantrikas did not run religious organizations and were consequently much freer to enjoy life and to keep Shiva and Shakti happy by living happily. It all depends on identification. Forms are voidness can imply that forms are worthless, but when voidness is a principle of unconfined, joyous awareness, the experience changes a lot. Here we come to the core of magic, the secret heart of all identity. Things are not illusions, everything is real. Even the most absurd illusion happens to be real for a time, a space, and a person who believes in it. All perceptions are true and relevant. Everything you experience is the love play of emptiness and forms. Yin and yang, perhaps even. One consciousness everywhere and everything. Your key to freedom is the ability to enjoy choice. You can be something. You can be nothing. You can be anything you'd like. Being something is easy. Being nothing is the ultimate consciousness expanding experience. Unbecoming is also a power of the magician and the mystic. For voidness knows no limits. To pulse between the identification with form and emptiness was the supreme art of the Kashmir Tantrikas. It can be yours too, once you have embraced the central universal void. For a practical introduction, see Fries, 2010, 280 to 295. Maybe it's an article somewhere, not sure. It is also a key to how to make it through the night side and the abyss. Okay? That's where we're going with all of this. We haven't just gone into a new study all of a sudden. We're finding the underworld everywhere. We're finding the Qliphoth everywhere. We're finding unconsciousness everywhere. We're finding unbeing wherever we can. Hopefully within ourselves as well. You, whoever you are, wouldn't survive any of this, for nothing survives. Nothing emerges from the abyss and delights to embrace everything. For a lucid introduction to the joyous pulsation of Kazimir Shaivism, read Dychkowski, Dyckowski, Dychowski, maybe, Dychowski. The Vijnana Bhairava, or Go and Be Mind-Boggled by Abhinavagupta himself. Abhinavagupta. All right. I think how long are we? Okay. I think we will go ahead and stop here. And next time we will talk about Through the Gates of Knowledge. Thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them below. I wish you well, and I wish you wisdom. Take care.